All right, today we're diving deep into one of the most crucial moments in the life of Joseph. We find ourselves in an Egyptian prison, literally a place designed for people to be forgotten. But it's right here, in this dungeon, that God starts setting the stage for an incredible comeback story. Seriously, just think about that for a second. What if your entire future, the good and the bad, was shown to you in a dream? Well, for two men locked up with Joseph, this wasn't just some hypothetical question. It was their reality, and it all unfolds in the last place you'd ever expect. So our story kicks off in a royal prison, and this is where three very different men see their lives get tangled up together in one single cell. So you've got Joseph, a man who's done nothing wrong, sitting at the absolute bottom of the totem pole. And then, in the same cell, you have Pharaoh's chief butler and chief baker. Now, these guys weren't just servants. They were high-ranking, trusted officials. Imagine the influence they had. But now they've messed up, they've offended the king, and they're stripped of everything, sharing a dungeon with a man they probably just saw as a nobody. And then, one night, something really strange happens. On the exact same night, both the butler and the baker have these incredibly intense, unsettling dreams. And when Joseph sees them the next morning, he can tell something is seriously wrong. And their sadness isn't just about the bad dreams. It's because they know the dreams mean something, but there's no one there to tell them what. It's like they've received a message from God that they just can't read. And just look at the contrast in these dreams. The butler's dream is all about life, right? A vine, grapes ripening, serving Pharaoh again. It's all about service and restoration. But the baker's dream, well, it starts out okay, with an offering for the king, but it ends in total destruction. Birds just swoop down and eat the offering right off his head. You've got two very, very different signs here.
And this is the moment where everything changes. Seeing how upset they are, Joseph steps up. But he's not about to just give his best guess. He is about to speak with the authority of God himself, right there in the middle of that hopeless prison. You have to appreciate what this says about Joseph's character. His very first response points completely away from himself and straight to God. He makes it crystal clear, this ability isn't mine, I'm just the messenger. He takes absolutely no credit for himself. It's this incredible moment of humility where he declares that only God has the answers. So, Joseph turns to the butler. He lays it all out, plain and simple. Those 3 branches, they're 3 days. In 3 days, Pharaoh is going to restore you to your job. You're going to be putting that cup in his hand again. I mean, this is unbelievably good news. And then, in this really human moment, Joseph makes his one request. When you get out, when things are good for you again, please just remember me. Tell Pharaoh about me.
Well, after hearing that, the baker is probably feeling pretty hopeful. He quickly tells Joseph his dream, expecting the same kind of good news. The interpretation starts the same way. The 3 baskets are 3 days. But the outcome, it couldn't be more different. And this part is so important. Joseph, staying faithful to the message God gave him, delivers the terrible news without flinching. He tells the baker he's going to be executed. He speaks the hard truth just as faithfully as he spoke the good news. Now, a prophecy is one thing, but seeing it come to pass is everything. This was the big test. Was Joseph really hearing from God, or was he just a very good guesser? The next 3 days would give the answer, without a doubt. And sure enough, the 3rd day arrives. It happens to be Pharaoh's birthday, a day for parties and for making big decisions. And as Pharaoh looks over the cases of his servants, everything happens with his breathtaking precision, just like Joseph said. On that 3rd day, the prophecies are fulfilled, right down to the last detail. One man is restored to his position, the other is executed. The word that God gave Joseph was absolutely perfect. It was a stunning confirmation that even in the darkest corners of a prison, God is at work, and his word always proves true. So, the prophecy came true, the drama is over, and you'd think this is Joseph's big break, right? He had one simple request for the man whose life was just saved through a word from God. Surely that man would remember him. But, the chapter ends on this quiet, really heartbreaking note. And don't forget why he asked. He wasn't just asking for a favor, he was asking for justice. He basically says, I shouldn't even be here. I was stolen. This was his one link, his one human connection who could speak up for him. And there it is, the final gut punch of a line for this chapter.
In the middle of all his celebrating, the chief butler, he just forgot. The human promise failed. The door to freedom that seemed like it was about to swing wide open was slammed shut again, and Joseph was left to wait.
And that leaves us with this huge question to think about. Joseph did everything right. God's power was clearly on display. So why was he left to be forgotten for 2 more whole years? Well, maybe the answer is that while the butler forgot Joseph, God never did. God's timing just isn't our timing. And maybe this season of waiting, of being forgotten by man, was a necessary part of a plan that was so much bigger than just getting Joseph out of jail. A plan that would eventually save an entire nation.